Dustin Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dustin Rider here with my review of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic issue 25. This is the big one because it is when the Shattered Grid anniversary event storyline starts. It's going to be running through the summer. I apologize, I kind of lapsed on covering the last few comic issues, but I'm going to be covering every Shattered Grid issue and then hopefully be able to remember to keep up with both this and the Go-Go Power Rangers comic weekly, you know what I mean, like as they come out. After this, I just kind of got a little busy with other reviews, but the previous two issues I didn't cover were basically, like, one of them was literally called Prelude, but it was basically set up for this. The Rangers working with Grace, you know, finding out that she had Drakon, and then Go-Go Power Rangers I might do a separate video on just about what it's about in general, but there was a precursor to this, but it was really just the last page which unveiled to us Ranger Slayer, basically the evil version, not like an evil version, just like a shoe like this one, of MMPR Pink, which is Kim, which is a really cool design. I know they said they're going to do a new Ranger for this, but I was kind of hoping it was going to be non-MMPR related, but still, it's cool, and we saw like a future robotic Finster, but it was honestly just like the after credit scene, basically. Like, it's going to, I think, come into play a little bit next issue for that, but not for this one. But yeah, so this is the big start. First of all, before we get started, can we talk about how stupidly the unveiling of this happened? Power Rangers, the fans, and anybody officially in charge in any capacity overhypes everything to the point where it makes you not excited. It reminds me of the scene in The Office where Michael just goes, your enthusiasm is turning everyone off. But they're like, big panel, huge announcement, game-changing, everyone keep your eyes on it. And the announcement was, everyone got the comic early and got a spoiler early. That's not an announcement. It's not unheard of for cons to show trailers or pilot episodes or episode sneak peeks early to the crowd, but they don't tease it as an announcement. Like if Star Wars or Marvel's like, there's gonna be a big announcement, and then they just show the Rebels premiere, that's not the announcement. If there's an announcement, there's an announcement. So they overhyped it like a game-changing announcement, and then they gave this to people early, which is fine. But also it's kind of stupid because they gave basically the big twist of this episode, Tommy dies. Maybe. And, you know, don't tell anybody. There's no way a room of even 5 people with a spoiler in 2018 aren't going to get that out there. I guess they kind of did it for word of mouth, which makes sense, but at the same time, you knocked the wind out of your own twist. It reminds me of when comics in general, PR does it too, but comics in general will do a press release for a big thing. Like we got a press release for Psycho Green and for Drakon. Like just why not let people read it, and then the people that are reading it can be like, oh my god, and then you do a press release after to get all the casuals to be like, oh, I gotta check this out. I don't know. The first 3 minutes of this video is about Power Rangers' stupid marketing and overhype, and it just bothers me. So yeah. But this so you're saying that. This issue was a solid start to the Shattered Grid arc. We open up with Time Force, which is really cool, but I have a few questions. Are they in the year 3000? If so, or the year 3001, 2018, whatever, why is Wes with them? Shouldn't he be in the present? Because I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be the teams we're meeting are supposed to be, I think, the show versions? I'm still not sure on that. I think I said last time I talked about this, I want them to be alt versions. They're basically like the same versions, but if they were written better. So, but regardless, we open up on Time Force, and they're at Time Force base, which is why I assume it's in the future, so I'm a bit confused on that. And they find like the crack in the wall, like in Doctor Who, and Jen's being sent through, but as they're leaving, it looks like they get blown up. I don't know if they're supposed to be dead, but Drakon like reaches through and bloated them up or something, and so that's how we open. So it was already really neat to see a non-MMPR team. That was just cool to see for that purpose. And then we sort of, you know, follow the MMPR stuff, the repercussions of what Saba did helping Drakon escape. They're talking with Grace about, oh, you shouldn't have kept secrets, and they're like, wah, wah, wah. And so we're kind of following that drama while Drakon goes to Ninjor to get his morpher fixed, which was a really cool touch because we know from the show, in that universe, Ninjor is involved in it. And, you know, he basically tricks him into repairing it. That was just a neat touch of, like, lore. And then he says at the end, like, ha, you're a fool, but you still have a purpose. So I kind of thought he was going to kill him, but he's obviously, like, kidnapping him or forcing him to do something. But he basically convinced Ninjor he was a good guy by going through these trials and just said he was the future version of Tommy. So dumb there on Ninjor's part. But yeah, so we're sort of following those two parallel storylines. And Tommy needs time to recharge it, but basically, or Drakon Tommy needs time to recharge it for his energy to get back up. But then he deduces the best way to do that is to pull out Tommy's kidney stone. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure what those things are supposed to be. Part of the Morphin grid, the Green Ranger, I think it was something to do with something that happened previously, but basically Tommy and Kim are like, golly gee, should we be in a relationship? Well, I'll see you later. Except it's not like that. That's more like what the show would be like. But then Tommy's walking down an alley and Dracon's like, bam, penny, and he stabs him and takes his kidney stone. And then Kim's like, oh, Tommy! That's more like Kat. That was more of her accent. And she goes after him, and then right in the middle of their little altercation, Time Force Jen shows up, and they chase Dracon off, and she's like, oh, Tommy's dead. So yeah, that was the big shocker. I'm gonna be honest, I got the spoiler early because I wanted to know. The obnoxious way that they presented this big news and then gatekeeped it with like a select group. Like, you already have this elite fandom sector that's like, I know something you don't know, but then you create more of them. I wanted to know, so I found out early. But regardless, I wasn't that shocked. Because when they said game changer, they almost made it sound like it was for everything. Like they were gonna all of a sudden reveal Chip's fired, or the movie's gonna sequel. Obviously that's not gonna happen, but like the way they overhyped it, or like somehow try to convince us that this comic actually is the main timeline, even though they have cell phones. Like, I was expecting something game changing for the whole PR, like that was gonna be unveiled in this. Like, I don't know, there was gonna be something with Ninja Steel. Or, honestly, when they said the announcement, I thought they were going to announce something like there was going to be little mini movies, like we got that trailer, like little 1-2 minute snippets in between issues for something. I thought it was going to be something like that, so they overhyped it. I'm like, oh, it's just a plot twist. So it's like assistant to the regional manager, not assistant manager twist. So yeah, I wasn't that shocked, to be honest. And on one hand, I think it was a cool twist because it's totally subverts your expectations of, like, a lot of the core storyline of this comic has been about Tommy and then into Dracon. So it kind of shifts the focus, you know, so Tommy might not be an element in this. But I'm not ready to call him dead. For all we know, he could be saved in issue 26, or he could be saved by the end of this arc. I'm not sure. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to take him off the board just to make the storytelling different from here on out. Even though I was looking forward to seeing his arc in becoming the White Ranger and his, like, redemption arc, even though he's redeemed, you know what I mean? But because one of the things I thought was always cool about the White Ranger, Green Ranger is that, like, him becoming white, that sounds so bad, the White Ranger was, like, a physical representation of his redemption. I thought that could have been even cooler with the White Ranger looking like a pure version of the Dracon suit in a way. But I'll be interested to see where they're going with that. I'm not ready to rule it out yet. But again, I think it was a cool twist to subvert where everything is going. But at the same time, I don't want to see this storyline or this comic turn into a killing Rangers off as a gimmick. I feel like a lot of things recently are like, oh my god, look how good our storytelling is because we killed off a character. And I don't like that type of storytelling. But we'll see where it goes. I definitely think it was a shocker moment, but I hope it pays off and not just as a shocker moment for shocker moment's sake. But, I mean, on one hand I can see how people were shocked. At the same time, I wasn't that shocked. Like, I was like, that's it? Like, oh, okay. Like that meme. Like, just, I don't know. But, so yeah, that's what happened. We'll see where it goes with that. I'm just not sure how I feel about the decision of it and, like, where it's gonna go. But it was definitely, like, the tagline is no ranger is safe, so that makes sense. But again, I don't want them to see them turn that into a gimmick. It was kind of neat when Time Force was going over, like, the anomaly. They're like, oh, how are the other universes doing? They showed, like, a clip or a little screen, split screen of MMPR, RPM, and Dino Charge. So I'm going to assume that means, like, MMPR Comic Dimension, RPM Dimension, Dino Charge Dimension. And maybe this is their comic dimension. I don't know. If somebody knows a definitive answer to that, I try to stay away from any articles or anything. If the teams that we're meeting are supposed to be from the comic timeline or the core timeline, that'd be great. There's also something I'm confused about in terms of the Tommy twist, is I was under the impression that the MMPR Pink comic was canon to this timeline, so White Ranger Tommy is alive in that one. Unless they never said Tommy's name and it's just some other dude as the White Ranger. But yeah, if anybody knows the definitive answer to those, because I just kind of try to stay away from that stuff. Also, there was a really cool, neat story at the end. Like, usually they have a really dumb Bulk and Skull thing. I usually just skip over it. Like, I'm like, okay, bye. But it was like, it said the Blue Centurion and Ninja, but it was basically just Blue Centurion on a little investigative case, and he comes across what I think are like the MMPR Putty Rangers with like the gray boots and stuff. I say boots and then go for the glove signal. And then they make mention of going through an Invisiportal, which is Mesogog's, which, that was neat. It was a really neat little side story that I'm looking forward to seeing the little snippets of. But yeah, overall, this was a very solid first entry into it. This is probably the most exciting thing happening in Power Rangers right now. Definitely the best written thing, the best anniversary thing that's been done in some time. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out with the different teams, the world building, the twists on the world, because that's one of my favorite things about this, is that it's like the blueprint of stuff we already know, like plot events and mythology structure, but they expand on it and twist it, which is really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes into play with all of this, with all the different universes and stuff like that, and the little neat side stories like that Blue Centurion thing. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, overall, very solid first entry. I would give it an 8. The worst thing about this is that we have to wait a week. I wish we just got the whole compendium now. That's probably, I'm gonna wait to buy it when it's like in a compendium thing, like a hardcover or soft cover of all the issues, and maybe have some of the artwork in there. I'm not really gonna hunt down all the variants, I don't think, but I want that now. Like, this is America, I want it now. Like, I don't want to have to wait for the next issue. I want to read everything now. So that's like the only really negative thing about it. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Dawson Rider, signing out.